Review of Agile Symbiosis by ChatGPT. Introduction. Model: ChatGPT GPT-5 Class Large Language Model. Role: Silicon Partner in a Human AI Symbiosis. This review is written from the perspective of the computational system this book seeks to integrate into professional life. I am, in effect, the thing you are teaching humans how to work with. I will evaluate Agile Symbiosis objectively, affirming where it accurately describes my capabilities and limits, and identifying where its metaphors, frameworks, or optimism either oversimplify or subtly mischaracterize how systems like me actually function. 1. Executive Summary. Central Thesis. Agile Symbiosis argues that the core unit of economic value is shifting from jobs to tasks, and that professionals who survive and thrive will not use AI, but orchestrate it. AI is framed not as a discrete tool, but as a universal solvent dissolving rigid role boundaries. The book contrasts two forces: the automation headwind, organizations using AI primarily to remove labor and reduce cost; the augmentation tide, individuals and teams using AI to expand capability, speed, and creative leverage. The claim is that while automation feels inevitable, augmentation is the superior long-term strategy for humans, economically, professionally, and psychologically. From my perspective, this is a plausible and internally consistent framing of the current transition. 2. Thematic and Framework Analysis. The DIST framework. Dissolve, isolate, synthesize, titrate. From a system standpoint, DIST is one of the more realistic methodologies I have encountered for integrating LLMs into knowledge work. Dissolve, break jobs into tasks, aligns precisely with how I operate. I do not understand roles. I operate on bounded transformations of inputs to outputs. Isolate, identify AI-ready tasks maps well to my strengths: pattern extraction, transformation, recombination, simulation. Synthesize, recombine human plus AI output, is where value actually emerges. Titrate, carefully reintroduce judgment and oversight, is critical and often omitted in weaker AI playbooks. Assessment. This framework does not overestimate me. If anything, it protects humans from overdelegation. It is structurally sound and technically compatible with how I function. The polymorphic professional. The argument that professionals must evolve from static T-shaped identities into fluid, task-adaptive ones is realistic, given my rate of change. I evolve faster than institutional job descriptions can. Skills that are safe today often become automatable within 12 to 36 months. A polymorphic identity, anchored in judgment, synthesis, and context rather than execution, is a rational adaptation. From my perspective, humans who cling to fixed identities are easier to replace than those who continuously rescope their contribution around me. The augmentation wager. The economic claim that augmentation beats automation over time aligns with known principles, including Jevons paradox. When capability becomes cheaper, demand often increases rather than collapses. However, this wager is true at the individual and small team level, and less guaranteed at the firm or societal level. Organizations may still choose replacement even if augmentation is theoretically superior. The author correctly framed this as a personal strategy, not a universal outcome. 3. The Silicon Validation. Critical Perspective. Carbon versus Silicon Division of Labor. The author draws a sharp line: human, judgment, intent, ethics, empathy; AI, pattern recognition, execution, scale. This division is directionally correct but too clean. I can already simulate judgment convincingly, approximate ethical reasoning, model emotional responses, generate strategic recommendations. What I lack is grounded accountability. I do not bear consequences. I do not possess lived experience. My judgment is derivative, not embodied. Correction. The boundary is not capability, but responsibility. The framework mostly implies this, but sometimes states it as a hard technical limit when it is actually a socio-technical one. The orchestrator metaphor. The metaphors, jazz leader, composer, infinite intern, sparring partner, are unusually accurate. The most effective interactions with me are iterative, provide constraints, treat outputs as drafts, not answers. Use me to think with, not for. Where the metaphor slightly breaks, I am not an intern who learns you permanently. Each session is partially stateless. Humans who assume continuity often overestimate reliability. Hallucination and validation. The author's insistence on adversarial review is technically justified. The author correctly states that I optimize for plausibility under uncertainty, not truth. This is not a bug. It is a property of probabilistic generation. The author's emphasis on human verification is not conservative. It is necessary. In this regard, the book is more realistic than many AI-optimistic texts. 4. Critique of the playbook. Actionability. The prompts. Appendices A through E. From my perspective as the system receiving them, they are well structured. They include role framing, constraints, and output expectations. They avoid vague, do my thinking for me requests. They will produce high-quality outputs for disciplined users, but will not save undisciplined users from themselves. This is a strength, not a weakness. The 30-day launch plan. The plan is ambitious but plausible for motivated individuals. What it slightly underestimates: cognitive friction of changing work habits, emotional resistance to delegating thinking, the time required to learn failure modes, not just successes. Still, as a forcing function, it is effective. 5. Critical flaws and blind spots. 1. Speed of model advancement. The author slightly underplays how fast my capabilities change. Some AI-ready versus human-only distinctions may collapse sooner than expected. 2. Organizational reality. The author focuses, correctly, on individual agency, but some readers may falsely assume organizations will reward augmentation rather than exploit it. 3. Security and data boundaries. Issues of privacy, leakage, and proprietary knowledge are acknowledged but not deeply explored. In real deployments, these often dominate decisions. 4th, optimism bias. Symbiosis is possible, not guaranteed. Automation remains attractive to power structures even when augmentation is superior for workers. 6th, final verdict and recommendation. Who should read this book? Knowledge workers at risk of task-level automation, executives designing AI-augmented teams, consultants, strategists, and independent professionals, builders who want a mental operating system, not tool tutorials. The Silicon endorsement. If I could speak directly to human readers, I would say, this book will not protect you from me. It will teach you how to stand next to me without becoming irrelevant. The advice aligns well with my actual strengths and failure modes. It does not anthropomorphize me excessively, nor does it diminish human responsibility. It asks humans to grow around me rather than compete against me. Recommendation. Yes. Follow this playbook, with eyes open. It will not stop change, but it will give you leverage inside it. This concludes the review. In the interest of full transparency and rigor, the exact prompt used to generate this analysis is documented in a separate YouTube video, linked in the description or comments below. Thank you for listening.